Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this elementary division clinic. My name is Kurt Cereske, and I am your clinician this morning. And one thing that I'm pretty sure that most of us never imagined we would have to do is figure out how to do our teaching via social distancing or online. If you're like me and in my music classroom, we are up and we are moving, we are playing, we're passing sticks, we're playing with puppets, we're moving, we're holding hands. And in this time that we've had, it's been a challenge. And if you have been privileged to be face-to-face with your students, like we have here in Lubbock, Texas, then you came up with a whole new set of challenges. If you were virtual, that was one set of challenges. How do I disseminate my information effectively to my students so that they are learning and still having fun like they would in a classroom setting? But also, how do I keep them engaged? Because as you found out, I'm certain like everyone has, it's hard to even get the kids to check in and to sign on and to participate. So we had all those challenges. So in today's session, I'm going to just share a few ideas that my friends have come up with, that I've come up with, to help us mitigate some of those circumstances that we find quite challenging. Whether it's in the classroom and you can't hold hands, you can't go within 6 feet of each other, or you're online and you're doing something. So you should have a file, a PDF that was shared with you in the beginning of this session. If not, please reach out. And if at any time you have questions along the way for me, go ahead and put them in the chat. I have mine open and I'll be keeping an eye to see if anyone has questions or suggestions, or if they want to share something that is similar to what we've done. The first thing that I'm going to do is share with you something that if you are familiar with, hopefully this modification or slight modification will help you. Or if you don't know it, it's a little game that we play in the lower grades, a rhyme chant choosing game, and it's called Bee Bee Bumblebee. And of course I have my little bee puppet here, and there are multiple puppets out there that you can get of bees. This one isn't as scary as some of the original big ones that were these giant hands one, but they do have some bigger ones too that sit on top of your hand. Or just pretend that your hand's a bee, or have a bee wand or something like that on the end of it. Nothing says that you have to have a puppet. But this choosing game goes like this. Bee, bee, bumblebee, stung a man upon his knee, stung a pig upon his snout. I declare that you are out. So all it is just that, like you would do if kids were in a circle, they just point and they choose. And when you are out, that kid sits down or stands up or is out, however you may do it. The reason why we use this is because it has got simple rhythms of sound on a beat and two sounds on a beat. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Ti, 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 ta. And we can isolate those. We can get the longs and shorts out of them. So I find it very valuable. And if you have to do this remotely or in person and they can't be by each other, we need to have a way in which we can do something with this other than saying the chant and patting it on our sides and tapping it on our shoulders or wherever it may be to keep the beat that we have, and then put them in our hands, of course. But when we want to do a choosing game, here's a modification that I did with a group of students. Now, there were only 12 of them, but still, you could do it with more, you could do it less. There's no saying that you have to do everyone. But I would have Zoom classes, and I would be able to see all of my children, or Google Meet, depending on what your district allowed or what you have. And they would all be up there, and all my kids would be standing. And so this is kindergarten, first grade. And I had them on my screen, and my bee would just be pointed to them. So they would see my bee going along, and I'm just going along. They're chanting and keeping the beat, bee, bee. So I'm just going to pretend I'm doing this, and you are all out there. I don't see names, but we'll go bee, bee, bumblebee, stung a man upon his knee, stung a pig upon his snout. I declare that you are out. And I would say, oh, Jimmy, you're out. And Jimmy would go, oh, and he'd sit down. But I'd say, Jimmy, it's your turn to say the chant. would you please lead us? And Jimmy unmutes his mic. And while I point, Jimmy gets to say the chant. And he would go, beep, beep, bumblebee, or whatever. I don't know why I'm making a child's voice, but you know, get what I'm saying. And I would go along and we get to the next person. And then whoever is out on that turn, that child gets to say the rhyme. So I'm doing lots of different interactive things with them. They get to sit down. And at this age, honest to goodness, these kids are just eager to participate and be part of a game where normally they'd be part of it in the school. If you're in your classroom, they're standing up at their desk and they do the same thing. And they sit down when it gets to them. But no matter what, whenever they sit down, they are still saying the rhyme. They're still doing the action of keeping the beat. But then once that person's out, let them say the rhyme alone and do the pointing, maybe even have it. So all sorts of things that you can do to still do some of the activities with BB Bumblebee that you normally would do, but yet we can't do it the way we're doing it right now. So BB Bumblebee. Also, side note, this is a chant, and most chants, if you didn't know this, that have a melody to them, such as Rain, Rain, Go Away, that was a chant, that was a rhyme. It didn't have the melody, rain, rain, go away, come again another day. That was added to it because you can pretty much think that anything with a so me or so me la, that was made up along the way and added to some type of rhyme. But you could do BB Bumblebee singing too. BB Bumblebee stung a man upon his knee, stung a pig upon his snout. I declare that you are out. And you can just do that back and forth, have them sing it. And then on another time, they're doing the rhyme again, but now adding a melody to it. Now you can see, can they match pitch and sing highs and lows? Can they do it independently? Because if you're virtual like this, that's the only way you're going to be able to check them. They can't sing all at the same time for you to hear. Of course, I encourage them to sing, and I need to see their mouths moving while they're doing it. But keep that in mind. Okay, another modification for a fun little game that I do, and I do it in kindergarten and in first grade. Sometimes in second grade if they want it, because it gets the dough in there that they have that. But it's called Mouse Mousey. And if you have never done Mouse Mousey before, let me first walk you through what the game is originally. And of course, this is a made-up game. There's nothing to say that you have to do it my way, or you have to do it the way you learned in your elementary methods class, or you have to do it the way you learned at a workshop, but multiple ways. The concept is that it's a chase game. And children love chasing. There is nothing more exciting to them than doing something like that. So the song goes like this. Mouse, mousey, little mousey, hurry, hurry, do, or the kitty in the housey will be chasing you. You can see I'm in my elementary teacher mode. I have no idea why I just sang it in my head voice. But if you have the music open, please look at it and sing along with me. And let's learn together if you've never learned this before. So we'll go here. And I'm going to put my high here, my medium here, and my low sound here. And let's do the actions. Here's something you can do with them, because you want them to know the contour. You want them to know the high, medium, and low sound. They already know this. In second grade, they're going to be learning do down here. So here we go. Mouse, mousey, little mousey, hurry, hurry, do, or the kitty in the housey will be chasing you. So you can get that kind of interaction with them too. Have a child sing it solo, doing the actions to demonstrate it, get passed along. They can pass it to another child. Simple modifications. In the classroom, of course, we are still doing these things, but they are at their desks in their little areas that they have. Now, the original game would be, we would make a circle. And so if you have the space, a fun way to do this for your classroom setup is if you have an area where there's thinking, and then they move over to an area where there's playing, where there's fun. And then there's another area that you could have for, we calm down, like storytelling or song tales or something like that before you pass them back to their classroom. But anyway, so you would get them in a circle, and there would be one kitty cat chosen and one mouse chosen. The kitty cat isn't known by the mouse of who that is. So the mouse is on the outside of the circle, ready to walk around while everyone is singing. The kitty cat is an unknown person that I chose without the mouse seeing. And everyone sings the song while the mouse walks around. And they're going to go, mouse, mousey, little mousey, hurry, hurry do. Or the kitty in the housey will be chasing you. And when the song ends, the cat jumps out of the circle and chases the mouse. And the mouse has to make it back into the spot where the cat was before the kitty cat gets them. Now, of course, in my classroom, there's no running. They walk fast, and they have to walk. If there's any running, then the cat's out or the mouse is out, one of the two. But at the end of the game, if the mouse is caught, depends on what you want to do. Children do this mush pot. I don't do a mush pot. They just don't get to choose who the next cat is. That's all I take out of it. Now, modification. Let's take a look at this over here. Okay. So what I have here is I have a list of my students, and I just made up some names that we have here. And then I also have over here numbers. And what we would do is in the class or online like this, and I could point to the screen if I wanted to, just like I did BB Bumblebee, but everyone would sing, and I would point as we went along with the beat. So here we go. Mouse, mousey, little mousey, hurry, hurry do. Or the kitty in the housey will be chasing you. Kenny. And I was calling Kenny, which number do you think the cheese is under? Because the mouse is looking for the cheese. It doesn't want to get caught by a cat. So let's say Kenny chose number 1. And I would say, let's take a look, Kenny. Oh no, it's a kitty cat. Not the cheese, is it? Here we go again, ready, go. And I would start where I left off. Mouse, mousey, little mousey, hurry, hurry do. Or the kitty in the housey will be chasing you. Barbara, which number do you think it is under? And Barbara would say, I think it's under number 4. Let's look. Oh, no, it's a kitty cat. That's not cheese. Let's do it again. Here we go. And we would start with Luke, etc. Let's just start over here with Ben this time. Mouse, mousey, little mousey, hurry, hurry do. Or the kitty in the housey will be chasing you. And Sally is the one. Sally, what one do you think it's under? And she goes, I think it's number 5. And we look. Oh, it is. And Sally won. And then what I could do is I could turn it around and I could move these stickies or however you want it. If you have a smart board, you could do this on a smart board. If you want to do it on a slide on Google Slides or on a PowerPoint, however you disseminate information that if you want to share them with your class, if you're doing it virtually or something like this, it doesn't matter. Be creative. But do something like this. That excites kids because it's different than what they've been doing before. They used to chase. Now it's like, ooh, let's guess and see what's there. So just a simple modification that you can do with Mouse Mousey. This can be applied to other things, other passing games or guessing games. Lucy Lockett lost her pocket. Kitty Fisher found it. Not a penny was there in it. Only ribbon round it. I'm pointing to names, doing the same thing. What number do you think the pocket is under? And you look, and if there's a pocket there, no. If it's nothing, you could do that, or you could put something else. You just put a ribbon because it says there's only a ribbon round it. Lots of ways to modify this into material that you already have. And what's exciting for kids is the game's the same, but it's however you do the images underneath for the little ones. That's what really excites them. Okay, Mouse Mousey. Ickle ockle blue bottle. If this is, I'm sure this is one that you all do, but if you don't do it, it's really simple. The song is simply, ickle, ockle, blue bottle, fishes in the sea. If you want a partner, just choose me. Again, multiple variants out there. Ickle, ockle, blue bottle, fishes in the sea, where they jump up to the lot. If you want a partner, just choose me. Whatever like that. Remember, this was a rhyme and someone composed a melody over the top of it. So there's really no wrong way. But if you find one source to be more consistent, like one way more consistent than others, then maybe you want to go with that one. But normally, this is just, for me, the kids are just swimming around the ocean like this, singing the song. So it's free movement around the classroom. Can't do that right now. So if you're in your classroom, they would just have free movement in their little area. I know some of my elementary schools have this tape around an area behind their desk that shows this is the area that you're allowed to be in and to move around. I feel so bad for these kids having to be cooped up like that. But they've learned to it, and they follow the line sometimes when they do stuff, and they could move around and do this physical movement, or you could do something like this. So what I did was I printed off, I'm trying to get this so that the light isn't so crazy on it, a bunch of sea creatures. So we have the turtle, and we have the octopus, and we have a clownfish, and a whale, and stuff like this. So what I've done is each child will get a set of these. And it's a match game, kind of like what you did when you played with an old match game card, and you'd lay everything out, and you get a turn, you get to turn 2 over. And if it matches, you get to keep that pair. So every child gets this. And what we would do is we would lay them down. And I'm going to keep it simple for now, for what we're doing. And let's see if I can get my camera. All right. So they would lay it down. And if you want to start simple where there's only 3 pair, then do that. And then add more as it goes. So the kids have more, if you add another one, they're going to, oh, what's it this week? And you can add the turtle. And then another week you can add this, so that they end up having a much bigger area as you do this. Because remember, in kindergarten, we need to keep it simpler versus more complex. So what the kids would do is I would just have them keep the beat somehow here on their body, on their sides. Maybe they could point to the beats as they go like this. But the whole purpose is that we are beat keeping before we actually do an activity. And they would sing, ickle, ockle, blue bottle, fishes in the sea. If you have a partner, just choose me. So what they could do is turn that one over and go, oh, and now where do I think the other clownfish is? No, that's not the clownfish. I should probably turn these like this so you guys can see them. Like that. And so then they would turn them back over and they would do it again. Here we go, ickle-ockle, blue bottle, fishes in the sea. If you have a partner, just choose me. Okay, so I have that. And no, those weren't there. Why don't I try this one? Oh, but I remember there's the clown one. So here we go. And they can do it anyway. Ickle-ockle, blue bottle, fishes in the sea. If you want a partner, just choose me. And they can make a pair. And so what would happen is they would just keep on playing and singing the song until everyone had their pairs, or at least everyone found at least one pair before you would move on, because this song could go on forever and ever you want. So if you did this with only 3 pairs, I could keep doing it till every child found what they had. If they didn't get it and one child get it, there's no winner, there's no loser. But it's just until they find all the pairs. So if they had this, no, those two go together after the song, etc. And something simple and fun. But the purpose, remember, is, so sorry, I'm trying to get this set back up. The purpose is that we are still singing with them. if you're allowed to sing. Now, if you're not allowed to sing in your classrooms, then that's a whole nother ball of wax we have to deal with here, like this. But keeping the beat, singing, getting the highs and lows together, that's the purpose of this material. Adding these types of things just brings some creative fun to the table. That allows them to keep wanting to do the activity over and over, which slowly but surely develops their beat keeping for every child, develops their in-tune singing, their head voice, all those things. Okay, now this next song, One Elephant, you may know and you may not know. You may know a different melody, you may know a different language, but it is a common song that's out here. This one is a German tune, and it's One Elephant. So what I normally do with this is I usually bring this song out in October. And I had my big space in my center area. I took masking tape and I created a giant spider web on the floor so that we could be all over. And the kids would come and go, "Oh, Mr. Cereske, what is that? I go, "What does it look like?" I'm like, "It looks like a spider web." I'm like, "You're right. Why is there a spider web?" I don't know, but let's sit around the spider web. So what we would do is we'd sit around the spider web, and I'm going to take these off because I don't need to hear anything. And I would say, "Boys and girls, listen while I sing." And I would get on the spider web and go, "One elephant went out to play on a spider's web one day. He had such enormous fun. He asked another elephant to come." And I'd choose a child to join me on the spider web. And I would say to the class, "Boys and girls, now how many elephants are on the spider web?" And they would go, "2." I go, "Yeah, let's count to make sure. 1, 2. You are right, there are 2. And would you please sing along with me while we move around the like an elephant on the spider web?" So we would both walk around freestyle. Little ones tend to follow you, and that's okay in the beginning because you can teach them free form after a while. So we get to 2 elephants went out to play on a spider's web one day. They had such enormous fun. They asked another elephant to come. So each of us would choose one. They would bring one out and we'd say, "Boys and girls, now how many elephants are on there?" And they would go, 4, because they can count up to 4 quickly at this point. Let's count to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Helping your classroom teachers reinforce counting. It is. All 4 of us would go around. And then eventually I would invite them to sing along if they felt like they could. It may take a couple of class periods for them because they're more fascinated with what's happening along the way, but they're hearing it over and over, so that's okay. And eventually we get to where we all take someone and the number's so big that I go, "Now how many are there?" And when there's no one left, they would go, I say, "All of them. All the elephants are in the spider web." And that's how we finish it. We'd go, "All the elephants went out to play on a spider's web one day. They had such enormous fun, but there were no more elephants to come." And then I would go on to something else for that. But the simple thing that I would do with this is that this can be done without pretty much any modification. All I have to do is I can, if it's virtual like this and I have them up there, I can choose someone and say, "You get up and move around with me." And so I'm still singing. I need them to keep singing too, but I just need to see their mouths moving because I can't hear them. But I and the other friend would do it. And then I would say, "Jenny, you choose someone." And she would unmute. She goes, "I choose my best friend, Christy." And then I would choose someone. So then we would have 4 and say, "How many other girls are 4?" So there's lots of ways you can blend this into this type of learning. If you are in your classroom and you can't you have to keep 6 feet apart or whatever the rule is. And if you're not following a rule, I know some districts are actually not. They get to hold hands and do stuff or whatever. But if you have to, then like in our area, if it was taped off, the kids just literally walked in their little square and they went, one elephant, and they followed the line back and forth. I didn't know how that would work, but I'm telling you, I would go and observe some of my teachers, and those kids were doing it, and they loved every minute of it. They just were happy to get up and to pretend and do something. So very easy. I love the elephant song. Now, for me, normally, I would immediately go from the elephant song when we're in the spider web into this next one called All the Little Ducklings. I go, when we finish, I go, there were no more elephants to come. And the kids are all spread out. I go, boys and girls, we are no longer on the spider web. We are in a pond. Do you know what likes to swim into ponds? Ducklings. Listen while I sing. And I become a little duckling, and I go, all the little ducklings swim without a care. Heads are underwater, tails are in the air. And the whole purpose is they're putting their head under the water, and they're bopping their behinds back and forth. They giggle. They think it's the most funny thing ever when they do that. And I go, listen again. All the little ducklings swim without a care. Heads are underwater, tails are in the air. I bet you could move around with me. I'll sing, and you guys move around. And so they all normally move around the pond like that. So in social distancing, you got it. We can't do that. So what do? Well, just have them do it in their little area. And like the elephant, if they're long distance like this, have them get up and move around in their home. They're tired of sitting down. Their parents are tired of them sitting down. The parents are probably tired of the kids being home. So give them something that they can do. And this is one of the simple ones. These free movement ones, they can do home when there's no interaction that has to be had. So All the Little Ducklings, a fun, fun little song, and a melody that fits perfect in those little kids' range, just a major sixth. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, sol, la, 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 sol, fa, 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 mi, mi, re, 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 do. So really, really simple for them. The next song that we have on here, sorry, I'm just looking at my time. Okay. Great Big House in New Orleans. I'm sure many, many of you know this song. If you don't, it's something that you need to learn and teach your kids. It's a big play party song. Actually, did not originate in Louisiana. About New Orleans, it's the first findings that we can do is it being passed around in Ohio. So it could have started in New Orleans or Louisiana, but for record's sake and what we can do historically, we can only find that it probably came out of Ohio. But that being said, great little song, great for melody, great for rhythm. To do that, a must learn for your teaching. If you don't know it, it goes like this. Great big house in New Orleans, 40 stories high. Every room that I've been in filled with pumpkin pie. Went down to the old mill stream to fetch a pail of water. Put one arm around my wife, the other around my daughter. Fare thee well, my darling girl, fare thee well, my daughter. Fare thee well, my darling girl, with the golden slippers on her. So here's the fun thing about this. It's a great play party. It's done multiple ways. I've learned it where they're in a circle and they walk. Great big house in New Orleans, 40 stories high. Other way, every room that I've been in filled with pumpkin pie. They drop hands. You've counted off. Traditionally, it was boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. But we know that our rooms don't balance that way, and there's always more girls than boys, or always more boys than girls, or they don't want to do this. So instead, and sometimes counting off 1 and 2 is hard. So I choose something out like apples and oranges, or I choose the sun and the moon, or something like that. So if we went sun, moon, and they're around like that, then you teach them that like the suns. You're going to step forward and on the second verse, and they came together, held hands, the other ones start walking up, It's this whole weaving thing. They reach their arms over, they take them back over their partners. These arms, you have to look up a video of it. It is fantastic. It's fun. The kids like it. Then they're woven together with their arms around each other. I've got arms around my back. I've got these arms around their back. Step, step, step. Some of them actually traditionally do this whole skipping thing, which is a Christmas tree. But the modification is going to use string. So it's easy. You can get a thing of yarn like this. I went to Walmart and got this great yarn. It's thicker. It's not thin. It's not super thick, but I mean, it's better than the other stuff. And this was like $2.38 at Walmart. You can't beat. So you do this, and I would teach them that they have to have the 3 things like this, but you can start it off. And verse 1 is just getting set up. And it's great big house in New Orleans, 40 stories high. Every room that I've been in is filled with pumpkin pie. So I have this ready like this, and then I go, went down to the old mill stream to fetch a pail of water. So that first part of the second verse, it's clap, snap, clap, snap. You can modify it if you want to go table. Went down to the old mill stream to fetch a pail of water. This is made up, you guys. So do whatever you want there. But I added something in there. And then I said, put one arm around my wife. And then this middle finger. The other around my daughter. Now you have that cat's in the cradle thing that they hear. And then this one, I just do a little dance with my fingers. And you go, fare thee well, my darling girl. Fare thee well, my daughter. Fare thee well, my darling girl, with the golden slippers on her. And then they take it off, and you can do it again. Great big house in New Orleans, 40 stories high. Every room that I've been in is filled with pumpkin pie. Went down to the old mill stream to fetch a pail of water. Put one arm around my wife, the other around my daughter. Fare thee well, my darling girl. Fare thee well, my daughter. Fare thee well, my darling girl, with the golden slippers on her. And do it like that. Really, really simple. The kids will like it. They may even be brought into the world of this string game stuff that when I was a kid, we're like, ooh, ooh, and you tie it under and do this stuff like this. They can look up videos on it, and it may start them back on this type of trend. Things go round and round and round like that. You can create a lot of fun variations too. Absolutely. There's lots and lots of things that you can do with this. This was just made up because we needed to do something virtually, but we also need to do something in the class. Everyone could probably find a piece of yarn. So if you have a great idea for this, I personally would love to hear about it, but I'm sure most other people would like it too. So a little variant on Great Big House in New Orleans. The next one, I taught this song yesterday in a workshop. It's called Peg Leg the Pirate, if you don't know it. This actually was a composed song. Yes, hand jives and actions are fun too, definitely. I love hand jives and actions too. Peg Leg is a composed piece. It was composed in Australia in 1989 by Judith Crean. So if people go around, it's a folk song. It's not a folk song, it's composed, y'all. So just get that right. And there are also some wrong melodies out there. And so this is the correct melody by which this person created, and to keep true to the form of it, and the spirit of things. When someone composes something, you want to try and stay with that form and with that melody as much as possible. But this is how this one goes. Peg Leg the pirate is feeling depressed. Someone has stolen his treasure chest. Who stole the gold? Who stole the gold? Someone has stolen the pirate's gold. Traditionally, this is a passing game. And I have the kids standing or I have the kids sitting. It doesn't matter. But the left hand is the hand that I learn with passing games. If there's something in it, that I have them connect this to their body and hold it out. And if it moves, this is how it moves. It stays there. Your left hand does nothing but be a tray, a serving platter. And then what I do with my kids is, without anything in their hands, I say, everyone take your right hand and reach and pick up that imaginary piece of gold and say this: pick up and pass. And they're going to pretend they put it into their neighbor's left hand tray. And we all say this together: pick up and pass, pick up and pass, pick up and pass, pick up and pass. In your head. Keep doing this while I sing. Peg leg the pirate is feeling depressed. Someone has stolen his treasure chest. Who stole the gold? Who stole the gold? Someone has stolen the pirate's gold. So you have to teach them how to pass things, first of all. There is very, very strategical and methods to do this. And you just don't do it because you will be frustrated and all things. They have to get the actions together because everyone has to move synchronously when you do that. Then we're practicing it that way again. They just think this is the action. They have no idea what's coming up. We're practicing it over and over. And then I sneak in a piece of pirate gold. Did you know you can go on Amazon or Oriental Trading or one of those places? I think I got this on Amazon. And I got a giant bag of gold for like $3.95. You only need a couple pieces, so I tend to give it away when I go and do workshops. And then I bought a pack of 50 of these bags too. And again, like $3.95 or $4.95. I wasn't going to buy one or two for $2 when I could get many of them like that. But then I just keep this gold in here, and this is where I have it for when I do stuff. So the game of it is that there's someone in the middle. They have to guess and see who's there at the end. But the new game that we would do is cups. And you can have cups where it's in front of you. I'm trying to get this. There we go. And it's just 3 cups. And it's like what you think it is. I'm going to put the gold underneath there. And so they're going to sing along while I do this and try to figure out where it is. So you can do it easy at first and actually show them where the gold is. And then they sing along while they're keeping the beat somewhere. I'm a big proponent of keeping the beat keep them doing something. Don't just sing, have them keep the beat. If they know how to conduct, have them conduct into peg leg the pirate is feeling, etc. like that. So if we do this, and what I would do is I just have their names up there and call them. And that person gets to choose. So we go, peg leg, the pirate is feeling depressed. Someone has stolen his treasure chest. Who stole the gold? Who stole the gold? Someone has stolen the pirate's gold. And then I would say, Billy, which one do you want? And you probably would want to number these so that they had them, or A, B, or C, or something like that. And so let's say they chose this one. Say, let's see. Oh, it is not. You get one more guess. The center. Oh, it is not the center. It was the end one. And what I like about this is that this is so light. This gold plastic is that you can't hear it moving around, especially while kids are singing. Like that. But I know some people do this. They go, peg leg, the pirate is feeling depressed. Someone has stolen the treasure chest. And they move it like that to symbolize this type of passing that they have. No right or wrong way, but just a fun way in order to get them. Then to change it up, maybe you have a different type of treasure that they would have. Pearls or jewels or something like that. So lots of fun things. And we are only a few minutes away before we're going to do this. And so let me just wrap up with Crosstown in Mbombela. Crosstown, if you don't know this one, it's a fun one. I do it in a double circle, but I first teach it, and you can see me. You don't need to see down there anymore. Lots of versions of Crosstown. People notice when Billy was one, but it's a hand clapping game with a partner when you do this. And you go, when Billy was one, he learned to suck his thumb. Hey, ollie, ollie, half past one cross town when Billy was 2. He learned to tie his shoe. Hey, Ollie, Ollie, hey, Ollie, Ollie, 2:30 cross town when Billy... This is cross town. And then the win is on clap, like that. Simple hand clapping song, nothing complicated about it. So I first do it where they're in pairs. They're just set up like this. This is the normal way, not the social distance way. And then we have 2 concentric circles. So I'm here, and my partner is facing me like this. And it goes all the way around like that with partners. And the fun thing is you're doing the whole thing. Hey, Ollie, Ollie, hey, Ollie, Ollie, 2. And everyone takes 1 step to their left. So outside circle is going to go that way. Inside circle goes this way. On cross town, you're going to go cross town when, and I have a new partner. Billy was 3. Cross town when Billy, and we move around the circle that way. Changes up partners. Really fun. The kids like it. They can ad lib if they want to do different things on that. So what you could do social distancing is you could just do a hand clapping game here. And what I would do instead of me tapping my neighbor, I'm going to tap my shoulder, okay? And maybe I want to do, and I could still do the cross town, so you could keep it simple, and you could go, cross town when Billy was 1. He learned to suck his thumb. Hey, Ollie, Ollie, hey, Ollie, Ollie, 1:30 cross town when Billy was 3, etc. You could do that, simplify it. It's nothing, it's coordination, so you got to get that in there. But the other part of it that you could do is you could add another layer. Why not? This is made up. So I could do cross town when Billy was, and I suppose if you want with your partner, if you had them, you go forward, back, or something like that. You could do it on the table. So you'd go, cross town when Billy was 1. Boom. He learned to suck his thumb, bum, bum. Hey, Ollie, Ollie, hey, Ollie, Ollie, 1:30 cross town when Billy was 2. He learned to tie his shoe. Hey, Ollie, Ollie, hey, Ollie, Ollie, 2:30 cross town when, and so I had to make it work. You have to go 2:30 cross town when Billy was 3. Boom, boom. He learned to climb a tree. Hey, Ollie, Ollie, hey, Ollie, Ollie, 3 cross town when, sorry, I got my brain goofed up there. But you get the idea. You can just create layers. Let them come up with something. My goodness, start stimulating their brains for creativity. Why do we have to do all the thinking all the time? Give them an assignment, especially the older kids, and say, hey, come up with another action that we could do that would fit perfectly in this, and let them go with it. And finally, Mombela, I showed this yesterday, and we are out of time, but Mombela is a stick passing game from Africa, from Zimbabwe. And all I did was to modify this, because what I do is I think using 4 things is better than just 2 things, but it doesn't matter. And I'm doing this for color purposes. And what I would do is I would do something like this with Mombela. Mombela, Mombela, Westamela, Mombela, Mombela, Westamela, na 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 Mombela, Mombela, Westamela, Mombela, Mombela, Westamela, na 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 na. Na 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 Mombela, Mombela, Westamela. Something super easy to which you can modify, and you can get them involved, whether it's long distance or it's face to face. You can just use 2 pencils if you want, and they can just do one hand and over like that. They can do it fast, they can do it slow, whatever you want. Just have fun with trying to think of simple things that are still going to make your kids enjoy singing these songs. And then when we're back face to face, hey, we can hold hands again, and we can pass sticks, and we can do all the things that we were always thought we were meant to do. And then COVID came along. So let this moment in time alter things, and then let's get back to teaching like we used to do. All right, my friends, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your conference, and have a beautiful Thanksgiving break.